And even right to the end, I thought we fought and battled the last 15 minutes or so with a type of disposition that wins. We had it, I think, a 4-point or 6-point game or whatever it was, and the ball bounced loose, and we didn't get it. They got it, and I think Graybo got fouled in that situation, where if we get one more stop now, you almost know you've got them in a state of panic, but we couldn't do it. And to their credit, they got to the free throw line 26 times and made 19, and we were not trying to foul until the very, very end.
Indeed, last night, Aztecs' 20-game win streak comes to an end, 68-62. You heard Coach talk about, just give you, like I said, my personal experience. Sense of urgency has to be on display at all time. You have to play with a lumberyard on your shoulder, especially when you are the hunted. People are going to look at the Aztec basketball program now, and they know it's the best basketball program in the state of California right now. So you're going to be the hunted. So the 5th ranking, I've always said this before, and I told Bobby this earlier. Hey, man, 5th ranking, I don't care about that stuff. I care what my ranking is at the end of the year. And right now, assistant head coach there with the Aztecs, Justin Hutson here with us now. And, Coach, I've said this all morning long, that this is a learning experience if we take it on Saturday and we apply it, right?
Absolutely, you're correct. I mean, you want to try to learn from wins, but you definitely get everybody's attention, coaches and players included, in a loss like we had last night. So we have to come back and watch the film, work hard and get better from this and come out on Saturday and play a very capable Air Force team.
Coach, don't you think, too, that this is the type of situation that you can also have your team galvanized by, because somebody's got to step up and grab the leadership chair, too, and look each other. It's one thing for the coaching staff to look players in the face and say, hey, this is what we didn't do in the first half. I know we played better at the last minute of the game. We got down by 16. We were able to cut it to, I think, 4 with about a minute left. But, I mean, isn't this the time when you find who your true leaders are, grabbing each other in the locker room? And I don't mean physically grabbing each other, but grabbing each other's attention.
And a loss is always great for your leadership to step up. And, and we've had some leaders step up all year long. And it won't be any different after this game. Xavier Thames and J.J. O'Brien and Josh Davis, they've all stepped up all year long and came through in some very hard times. And, this game we just happened to come up short. And, I was listening to Coach Fisher talk about sense of urgency, and that's exactly correct. And it takes all 5. We talk a lot of times about it. It's going to take all 5 with a team like Wyoming, who is trying to control tempo. We have 3 guys doing the right thing and 2 not, and then 4 guys doing the right thing and 1 not, and that's not good enough for us. So we have to come back and get better and learn from this, and our leadership is strong.
Coach, one of the things, too, that I'm learning about the Mountain West, these destinations, you're going to play solid teams, and you're going to play teams that have really good talent. I'm not suggesting that it's the Big East or the ACC. However, I've played in these altitude places. I remember playing against the Broncos one time. I went up there, and I'm not making excuses for the ball team here, but, it's part of the environment, getting into it, playing in it. It's a pretty demanding on your physical presence as a player in this conference. Is that fair?
That's absolutely right, Dan. I mean, this is a tough conference to play with. You talk about the travel, the altitude, the coaching, and the talent. And I think a year ago we were the number 1 ranked RPI conference in the country. It's not quite as strong this year, but the destinations are still every bit as hard to play at. And if you look at a Wyoming team who played New Mexico to 2 overtimes and, a couple last-second shot losses, and they came out and they took it to us for the first 25, 30 minutes of the game, and we have to do better.
He is Justin Hutson, assistant coach here on the Dan Sileo Show on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. What was the most disappointing part of the game for you last night?
I think the dunks. I think all the dunks that they acquired. I mean, they really want to control their tempo. I think they had 11 field goals each half, which is not a lot, but I think they shot a very high percentage, over 50%, which doesn't happen to us too much. and a lot of dunks. And they do that. That's the way they play. And, it's not abnormal to the way they play. That's what they do. They're a leading field goal percentage team in the conference. But we must do better than what we did giving up those dunks. A couple of them were at the end of the game, when we were really trying to heat them up and put on the pressure. But the ones that got them the 16-point lead are the ones I'm very disappointed in.
And Coach, you and I know that focus is not a cliche that I think maybe the average fan understands, because focus, again, can mean numerous things. And I'm not suggesting at all that there was a lack of effort, but there's a lack of that mental focus sometimes, which may look like effort. It looked to me like a little lazy effort in the first half, and more mentally. I'm not suggesting these guys weren't going after loose balls, but the turnovers, the 10 turnovers, to me, that's that mental focus I think we're talking about.
Absolutely. I think a little bit of fatigue came into play with that, with our lack of focus with the turnovers in the first half, and I think and lack of defensive execution. I think we didn't execute on either side of the ball, enough to go in and beat a good Wyoming team. You have to go in with a mental focus and a toughness and an edge about you to beat a team on the road like that who has a wide out, who's going to control tempo, and is very capable. And I think that's very fair that our focus needed. It wasn't a lack of physical effort, but our mental focus and our sense of urgency needed to be at a higher level.
Justin Hutson, assistant coach here on the Dan Sileo Show on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. And, Coach, like I said, I told people this before, and, my old college coach used to tell me it all the time. He goes, don't let one loss affect you when 3 losses coming up. And we talk about the classroom, when we talk about the learning experience, there had to be some, at least at the end of the game, when you saw the guys' effort. I mean, another great rally at the end. To me, again, you just got to get a full half on each end of the board there for you to be able to get through and be a champion. And to me, again, from the tip to the end of the game, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to play a perfect game here.
You're always striving for perfection, Dan. You're right. And you're not going to reach it. But we did come back at the end of the game, which no moral victories here at San Diego State, but we were excited about us getting ourselves and putting ourselves in a position for a chance for a win. I think we cut it to 4 and almost had a 5-second call and overextended a little bit and gave them a layup. And I think we had a chance to cut it to 3 the next, a couple possessions later. So our guys really fought back. I mean, and we can learn from that, but we also need to, like you say, be able to put that together for a full 40 minutes.
Coaching a losing effort is sometimes more important than coaching a winning effort. And what I mean by that is after you get beat and you have that number 5 ranking and all the expectations, coaching players through this to have them prepared on Saturday against Air Force, that's sometimes even more of a tougher end because everybody can be a front runner, Coach. It's another thing to be able to look players in the face and go, who cares about the 5th ranking? Okay, it's about where we are going to be at the end of the year. So, again, this comes with the group being a strong group of players around them that understand what the coaches are trying to connect with these guys as we get ready for Saturday.
Our leadership is strong. You talk about Coach Fisher's leadership. He doesn't lose too many times, 2 times in a row. We did mention that last night where it was, we can't let this Wyoming game put us in a fog and lose the next game because of that. Air Force is going to be a tough team to play. They're going to control tempo also. So we have to make sure we come out and put more than the 15 minutes of hard play we put together last night of focus. And we have to play more consistently. And our leadership from our players is great. Our coaching leadership is great, starting with Coach Fisher. So we'll be ready to go on Saturday, and we have to come back and have 2 hard days of practice on Thursday and Friday. We have to take today off because we practiced on Sunday to get ready for that Tuesday game that came pretty quick at Wyoming. So we're excited about it. We're happy that the 5th ranking, we were able to win 20 in a row and get to the 5th ranking, but none of us thought that was the culmination of our season was holding any parades. But we are happy with what we have accomplished before, but we still have a lot of tough games left to play.
Coach, what I love, and I can already sense you guys have moved on. And to me, that's the quickest thing. You've got to have such a short attention span, almost like a gnat, when you're playing college basketball or college football or any sport, because you let these things linger like this, and it looks like the group has moved on. You guys, to me, it looks like you're anxious to get back on the practice court and to get ready for Saturday, which is a great sign.
Well, I know the coaches are, and the players will be too by the time they're back on the practice court. College basketball is tough. I mean, you look across the country, and you got Ohio State who lost 4 or 5 in a row, and you got, Syracuse who's won all their games, but it doesn't usually happen like that. You have teams that are very good teams, that are teams that have a chance to go to the Final Four that have been on multiple game losing streaks. There's a lot of parity, a lot of good coaches. Everybody's on scholarship. So we have to make sure that we learn from the mistakes that we made, praise the good things that we did, and come back and fight on Saturday.
Coach, there's only one team that's gone wire to wire where they've won every game and won the national championship, and that's that Indiana team back in the 70s. With Quinn Buckner's group. So, I mean, like you said, you lose games in college basketball, and it is tough. And I say this to everybody. It's tougher to win a national championship in college basketball than it is in college football because of all the parity throughout the leagues. So I'm looking forward to Air Force on Saturday, Coach. I appreciate you coming aboard. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Glad for you to have me. And, Dan, thanks again. Welcome to San Diego.